All right. So, to get into our case topics, this is really just a discussion, kind of letting the conversation go where it may, because I found it interesting that, you know, we had kind of an idea about we have ideas about the case, you know, and we think we know something, and then we remember a bit of information from the past, or, you know, unearth a bit of information from the past, and we're like, oh, wait. But this.
Yeah, and you're talking about the Idaho 4 massacre and case right now with Bryan Kohberger, who is the criminology student out, well, he's from Pennsylvania, but the crime happened in Idaho, and he was going to Washington College.
In Pullman. Yeah, Washington State University in Pullman, and he stands accused of the murders of Xana Kernodle, Maddie Mogan, Kaylee Goncalves, and Ethan Chapin. He's facing the death penalty, and we just talked about the update where we're going to have a summer trial coming up in 2024. Recently, we were talking about on the True Crime Talk Show, our live show, that we're talking about the home and the condition it was found in by the police originally. We were talking about how the crime scene was managed. And you said something about there being a rumor that the home was really hot inside.
Yep.
Now, a bit of information contradicting this, and also have questions, so many questions surrounding this. Get a Clue came out with a video showing an article about a neighbor, and I have that article here by Fox News, entitled "Idaho Murders Slain University Students Neighbor Says Front Door Left Wide Open After the Attacks." This neighbor came forward and told this was posted December 8th, so the first week of December, just came forward, you know, weeks after the murders, and told Fox News that the front door was left open on the level where the two other roommates were unharmed, meaning the first level, because during that time, everybody thought that Dylan and Bethany were on the first floor, and it was wide open, the front door was wide open at 8:30 a.m. And this is supposedly before anyone knew about the crimes, supposedly. And the 911 call wasn't made until 11:59, so literally like noon.
Yeah.
Question. How did these girls... It's cold. It's cold there. Like, very cold.
I mean, I personally feel like that adds weight to what I was saying, not disproves it.
Yeah, but Bethany's on the first floor. Heat rises. Her room's already going to be cold. And then with the front door right next to her room door open, it would be freezing in her room.
No, not necessarily. Not if you have your thermostat set to like 75 or something like that, and that front door was open, and your thermostat is feeling that cold air, that heat would be pumping.
Well, you're right. The heat would be pumping, and from what I've seen, the thermostat is on the first floor, right by that door.
Well,
very close, in very close proximity to that door, from what I saw. So,
in my opinion, that adds weight to it being blazing hot in there, making smells go, and...
Upstairs where the bodies were.
Well, I mean, I think any door that's closed, if you have a vent in there, it is going to be hot. Because even with a closed door, sure, like, some air escapes, but not much. I've been in every house I've lived in where if you have, like, the front door open and open air in there and the heater's going and it's in a closed room with a closed door, like, that room will get hot, man, because all it is hot air going in there and no ventilation, you know?
Yeah.
So.
It's a good point. Maybe that's right. I just thought it was odd that it's so close to her door, like that it just made me feel like it would be cold in her room, and I don't know.
Or that she would notice.
Or that she would notice somehow.
Yeah.
Also, it makes me question, you know, there were many rumors around town that the roommates had called around to friends telling them what was going on before. the cops. Like literally that morning, early that morning, around this time that we're talking about. So was the door left open by the suspect, or was it left open by friends, other students, other friends coming in?
That is a good question.
How long were they there? Does that explain the latent shoe print? You know what I mean? Being cleaned up?
Yeah, that's what I've wondered from the beginning, is maybe that shoe print is an accident. Maybe there's something honest to it. I don't know. But one thing I do know is I do know that Bryan Kohberger isn't seen in any pictures, or they didn't pick up any Vans shoes. So the likelihood of it being his is very small.
It's minimal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was included in the PCA, which would make you assume that they matched it to him, and would make you assume that it was evidence against him. But they didn't give a size. They didn't say anywhere that they matched it to Bryan Kohberger, or that he wore the same size shoe, which makes me wonder, like, did they including that hoping it would end up matching Bryan Kohberger, and it didn't work out that way?
That's what I'm wondering, but, you know.
Yeah, another discrepancy in the case. Really, really strange. Also, we were talking about Chief Fry talking about the door being open, and I saw several people mention, and I don't know where he mentioned this, that he didn't know about the door, but on the press conference on November 16th, so 3 days after the crime, and I think this is the first one, I'm pretty sure it is, the first ever press conference, when he's answering media questions, literally the first lady, the first reporter that starts asking questions, that's one of her first questions. And he answers it by saying, yeah, the door was left open. So I'm going to play that really quick. It's pretty short.
Right. Oh, thank you for having us. I'm Amanda Rowley with Crumb 2 News. You mentioned that there's an indication that it's an isolated, targeted incident, and there is an individual somewhere. Can you give us a reason as to why there's that belief there is a suspect? And can you also give a little more information on the forced entry? There's no sign of forced entry, but was the door, did it seem like any of the entries were left unlocked by any means?
I'll answer the last part there, just because it's at the front end of my mind. We're not 100% sure if the door was unlocked, but there was no damage to anything, and the door was still open when we got there.
Interesting, right? And the whole narrative with the PCA is that Bryan Kohberger went through the back door. So did he, if just using him because he's the suspect, let's just say whoever did this, did they come in through the front door and exit the back door? Because Dylan said the guy she saw exited the back door, was walking towards it as if they were leaving.
Yeah. Yeah, or is something completely different here? Like the suspect entered the front door, went into Ethan and Xana first, got heard by Kaylee, and
they said somebody's here.
Yeah, I was trying to think of who was making those comments, though, because when you read Dylan's statement is talking about the comments coming from Xana's room. So at least that's what it appears like in the PCA.
Well, she said heard Kaylee. She heard who she thought was Kaylee saying somebody's here. That it didn't talk about the direction for that specific one.
So then, yeah, I mean, the suspect could have entered the front and gone into Xana and Ethan's room first, and then realized someone else was there upstairs, and then went upstairs to Kaylee and Maddie, and then came back downstairs, and that's where you hear the "I'm here to help you."
Yeah.
Because they were coming back down and somebody was still alive, maybe. I don't know. But I think it's possible.
I've always kind of wondered if Xana wasn't in the room. And she walked in on Ethan after something happened to him. And then, or she heard something and she saw, and the person was like, it's okay, I'm here to help, just to like catch her off guard.
Yeah.
Like to make her think.
Very possible.
To make her think everything's okay for a second so that they can act, because they already know what their plan is, so they can act quicker than her.
Yeah. Yeah. The front door being left open is strange. Well, it is strange, regardless of the heat, regardless of the cold. It's weird. And, you know, I think that front door being open could add weight to them not knowing they were there. Because would the surviving roommates leave that door open if they were up and walking around? I don't know. But it makes me wonder.
Well, here's the part of the PCA that talks about, like, where they are when the crime's about to happen. Suspect vehicle 1. Okay? And I believe what this is saying here is that the suspect was around the back of the home. But let's see. Let's parse this out. So, a review of footage from multiple videos obtained from King Road neighborhood showed multiple sightings of suspect vehicle 1 starting at 3:29 a.m., ending at 4:20 a.m. The sightings show suspect vehicle 1 makes 3 initial passes by 1122 King Road residents and then leave via Walenta Drive. Walenta Drive is the road around the back of the home, right? Right behind it, the tree line. Based off my experience as a patrol officer, this is a residential neighborhood with limited vehicles. Okay. Yeah. So that statement. Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering an area a 4th time at approximately 4:04. Now, this would be the time that they would have to be parking and going in.
Yep.
It can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping, turning around in front of 500 Queen Road, number 52, and driving back westbound on King Road. When suspect vehicle 1 is in front of the King Road residence, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park or turn around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turn and driving eastbound again down Queen Road. Then it's seen at 4:20 departing at a high rate of speed and is observed traveling southbound on Walenta Drive.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea, after listening to that, where this suspect supposedly left their car to enter the home?
No. I don't. I know what lots of content creators are suggesting. I know that there's a parking lot where they say that he parked, but nobody really knows that. And that's what's so important in this case, is to stay aware of these details that come out. And I'm talking about us too, because we are a think tank podcast. We are here to talk about true crime, and we're here to theorize ideas, bounce ideas off each other, and grow our knowledge overall. And I don't want our theories to be taken as fact ever. Never. And there's nothing ever wrong with theorizing either. So, yeah, I don't know. I know that there's a lot of assumptions that he drove around. That was him on this footage and this footage where you can't see what type of car it is. And then he most likely parked here and had something laid out to change. Like, I know that storyline, but is there going to be evidence for that storyline?
So, here's what I see. I see a gap. I see a gap in the footage here. I feel like there's a missing piece of footage here. And I think it's weird. I think it's very, very weird. Because it talks about them having video of it being, of the car being in front of the King Road residence, and appears to unsuccessfully attempt to park. And I said I believed at first that he parked on Walenta Drive. That was only because I saw other people saying that's what it appeared to be. And then after reading this, I don't think that anymore at all. I don't think that there's evidence here to say he parked on Willinta Drive behind the home. It says
he unsuccessfully attempted to park.
Successfully attempted to park at 4:04 a.m. He's seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and turning around in front of 500 Queen, driving back westbound on King Road, then is in front of the King Road residence, 1122, and appeared to unsuccessfully park or attempt to park and turn around in the road.
Yeah, it's so strange.
Then continues to the intersection of Queen and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 3-point turn. That's not Queen Road Apartments, you guys. That's not Linda Lane footage.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about a 3-point turn. That's irrelevant. That's not what they're talking about in the PCA. They're talking about King Road and Queen Road down by Jack DeCour's house. We've seen body cam footage of it. Of the cops walking up and turning right on Queen Road to go to the house.
Mm-hmm.
Because the house is on Queen Road.
Yeah.
Even if the address is King Road.
Yeah.
So that intersection of Jack DeCour's street meets Queen Road. That's the intersection they're talking about. That is nowhere near Linda Lane. That's on the opposite end of the street.
Okay.
Interesting. And then there's a gap. And then they're saying at 420 he's speeding off. So if he made a 3-point turn and then drives back toward the home, at the King Road, Queen Road intersection, drives back towards the home, then there's just this gap. Then he's seen speeding off. And then it says, next, it's seen observed driving southbound on Willinta Drive. So clearly he wasn't on Willinta Drive when he entered the home from the back of the residence.
So
that car was in front of the residence.
So it could be the front, entered through the front, and left through the back?
No. I think they went in and maybe they exited the back and then just walked around the back. Maybe that was just the most convenient exit.
Yeah. And this goes back to, building that story that looks the best for prosecution. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do they even know what really happened? Do they care? Do they care what the truth is? Or do they just want their conviction because they have some evidence that makes them believe Kohberger's the guy?
Okay, but do you not see the gap? Because they have video footage of him making a turn in the middle of the road in front of the residence. And then they said he's going back down Queen Road and then is seen speeding off. So where's the footage?
Going the wrong direction.
Where is the footage of... If they have video footage of him in front of the house turning around, then and video footage of him speeding off from the home, then why is the footage about him being parked there and getting out of the car, why is that not mentioned here? Why is that gap here?
Yeah, I think that's a good find. I really do. That gap is really important because if he is in the Linda Lane footage, is there another entrance in? While I'm doing editing, I'll look at that. I don't have it in front of me right now. But is there some kind of other entrance where you can enter driving away from the house down Queen? I don't think so, but...
The 3-point turn was not at the Linda Lane. Yeah. I just realized that just now while reading that.
I think it was.
I took everyone at their word. They're wrong.
In front of the house.
So, I just read it to you.
Yeah,
so,
I know, but
the 3-point turn is at the intersection of Queen and King Road.
Right, I'm sharing what I've believed.
This is Linda Lane.
Yep.
That's the opposite. This is where the 3-point turn is. Mm-hmm. This is the residence.
And there's parking here.
This is Willinta Drive.
Yep.
Here, let's do layers and do...
Yep.
So, I guess no. Willinta Drive could be a good access point, I guess.
Yeah, it could be.
But you could, I guess, park on the back of Queen Road because it's essentially a dead end.
Yeah.
And do it that way. Maybe that's why they don't have video footage of it. I don't know.
I don't know.
You could still enter the back of the home. This is the parking lot, I think, right?
Yeah,
this
but
is a parking lot.
he's seen driving away, you said.
Yeah, he is seen driving
away. So
away.
then how would he park over here if he's driving away? The wrong direction.
You got me, man.
Yeah. And I think there's been quite a few creators that have called this out. You know, for those of you that are new here, we have a lot of people that are just finding this case because of our content on the podcast and everything. But then we also have people that have been following a lot of content creators on this. And we just haven't covered this before, the going the wrong direction footage. Yeah. And it's important and it needs to be brought up more because it doesn't make sense where that gap is. What are they trying to say? That he was driving the wrong direction, and during that block of time, he turned around and went back to the house, and for whatever reason, a camera didn't catch him, but it did all the other times? I don't know. Or again, are we watching a situation where, for whatever reason, because of illegal reasons, they know it's Kohberger, okay? And I'm not saying he's guilty, but just going down that rabbit hole. They know it's Kohberger. They know it. They have something that they know it's him, but they don't have evidence to prove it. So then they're twisting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. There is just enough information in this case to cause issue, but not enough to help anybody get any explanations whatsoever. It's a big headache.
It is a big headache.
It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. The cell phone data is not true. I doubt the eyewitness statement. I mean, there's a lot in here I have issues with. But I can also believe that Bryan Kohberger can be guilty. Yeah. Because there is a lot of things in here, you guys, like, that make it appear like... Because I'm one of the people that believes... How many coincidences are in murder? Very few, if any. There's a lot of coincidence with him being here if this is truly proven to be him. Like they literally have his license plate on the car, or they have an image of him in that car, whatever. Like, the coincidence, there's a lot against him too. Let's be real here.
No, for real. Yeah, there's red flags here for sure. Like, I definitely see why he was named a suspect. I definitely see how he could be guilty. People are saying that the Linda Lane footage matches up. But here's my issue with that, is that I don't know if it actually matches up. Now, the 500 Queen Road is the stopping and turning around. And before that, they claimed that he made 3 initial passes by the residence, but they never said that he stopped and turned around in front of those Queen Road apartments. 500 Queen Road is those apartments, and here's the thing. It says number 52. That's a unit number. This is number 52. This is before they ever get to the parking lot.
Okay.
Why were they that specific with that unit number? Because that unit number is before you ever get to the parking lot. That seems very specific, no?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that's kind of weird. And they only talk about him turning around one time in front of the Queen Road apartments. And then in front of the King Road residence, and then the intersection of Queen and King Road. Yeah. Yeah. I see issues. I do. And I just don't know how you have video footage of his car in front of the house and not have video footage of him if he went through the front door. Yeah. Yep. With the front door being open. No, I agree. Maybe it's there. Maybe it's there and they're hiding it. But is this a trial by ambush, dude? Because that's what it's kind of seeming like. If you have that footage and it's not in the PCA, and then if it's not then talked about after, like, I hope it's in discovery at least.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes me question. Like, it's just kind of weird.
Me too. Almost every piece that we look into, it doesn't feel like it is solid enough. And again, I go back to the fact that we've looked at Rex Heuermann, we've looked at Gilgo 4, obviously not Delphi, that's a completely different situation, but a lot of these other cases, they very clearly have evidence that this person was here at this time because of this, this person was here at this time because of this, this person was here at this time because of this, and they're able to prove that it is that person in that area and what time it is. There is nothing like that here. Nothing. They're saying suspect vehicle 1 because they believe that the vehicle type matches Kohberger's, but they don't have any information in there to confirm that it's Kohberger's. They just suspect it is.
Here, I want to lay it out very, very clearly what I'm getting at real quick. In that there's the front door is left open. If that was by the suspect, then they entered through the front door, and if Dylan's statement is true, exited through the back sliding glass door. Now, if that is true, then where did this person park? Everyone assumed, I think, for a long time now, that the suspect vehicle went around that Queen Road corner and parked in this back lot right behind the house, behind the tree line. And that they probably went through the back of the home, through the back sliding glass door, and also exited through the back sliding glass door. Mm-hmm. This front door being open throws off that whole theory if it was by the suspect and not by Dylan or Bethany calling friends over.
Agreed.
We don't know. We don't know why that door's open. And it's also, if Dylan and Bethany were calling friends over and friends came over, why would they leave the freaking front door open like that?
I agree. I don't know.
Why wouldn't they shut it? Especially because if they called friends over, I feel like they were hiding something. And you wouldn't just leave the freaking front door open.
Unless there's unless one of them was rushing. Somehow Ethan's brother heard that he was hurt and he comes flying through like
Ethan's brother would not have not called the cops that early in the morning. I don't believe that. He's family. He's his twin.
Yeah, I'm assuming that he found out minutes before the cops.
This is 8:30 in the morning that the door is left open. Hours before the 911
I get it. I'm just looking at it from the perspective of the police. I understand that there's an eyewitness saying that it was open at 8:30. However, eyewitnesses are unreliable, so I don't put a lot of, worth into it. I'm not saying it's not true. I think that based on my understanding of this case, I'm more likely to sway towards I believe it than I don't believe it, but I just know that eyewitnesses' statements aren't reliable.
But I think what adds more weight to this is the fact that the reporter asks, was there any signs of forced entry? Were any doors unlocked?
Right.
And he says there's no signs of forced entry, but the door was left open.
Yeah, and from my understanding, there were kids
from the suspect
before the cops got there.
Yeah, but he didn't say that.
Yeah, but he also says that the two roommates weren't the ones who called the cops.
Yeah?
So someone else was there.
Yeah, but that is at noon.
I know. Cops weren't there at 8:30.
Yeah, but
cops were there at noon.
You're adding that context when that's answering a different question later. So I think it's important that he doesn't mention that when he's answering this specific question about forced entry and unlocked doors.
Yeah.
If he had mentioned, but, also these things, then I'd be like, okay, well, maybe he doesn't believe it was by the suspect. But it appears he does believe it's by the suspect because he mentions it when she's asking about the actual crime in forced entry.
It could be. That's a stretch. But it doesn't mean it's wrong.
I don't think that's a stretch, but okay.
There's just concrete evidence and statements, and there's not. That's not concrete. That can go both ways.
Sure, I guess, yeah.
So it's important to highlight that I think either one could be right. I just know that I don't ever bet on an eyewitness statement. Ever. Never. I don't care how much I like them, how honest I think they are. Eyewitness statements aren't reliable.
No, but sometimes they are.
I don't agree. I don't think memory is reliable, so...
It's interesting that it did come out just the first week of December, not right away, though.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why.
Yep.
But yeah, so just to lay it out, and then I'll ask you guys, what you think about it, is I just think that it's really, really odd that the door, we have reports of the door being left open, and it's not the back door. It is the front door, specifically. And that we have in the PCA them talking about having camera footage of suspect vehicle 1, in front of the home. Like, they have actual video of it in front of the home is what it appears. Because that's what they're mentioning here.
Yep.
And the door's left open, but no mention. There's a gap. There's no mention of seeing actual Bryan Kohberger, a suspect getting out of the vehicle, or anything like that. And I'm curious, do they actually have it? Do you think they have something like that? Do you think there's a reason they didn't include it in the PCA? Is that proper? Is that normal? Is that shady? Do you think we have a trial by ambush? Like in the Murdaugh situation, that video of Paul, remember the Paul video where you hear him in the background and everything? That sealed it for a lot of jurors, that video, because it proved some of Murdaugh's lies.
Yeah. And
that he was there. So, I don't know. Is that going to be a situation like this? I don't know. But I want to know what you guys think about it. So let me know.